This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning, and we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 6th of September 2019, and I am DM.
I am Tom.
And I am GK.
Today is actually, our today in history is quite special because we're actually living in that history.
Yes.
Today, Robert Mugabe passed away in Singapore at the age of 95.
Right.
And here at the Fifth Estate, we celebrate Robert Mugabe.
Absolutely.
He was one of Africa's most foremost founding fathers.
Yeah.
He was a liberator, a Pan-Africanist, a thinker and a great intellectual, Jesuit educated.
Absolutely.
And he's the exact kind of leader that the West love to hate.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that is true.
You know, today in the morning I was watching CNN,
Yes.
and I saw a guy called David Mackenzie,
Yes.
and he was asked, in Africa, how will Robert Mugabe be remembered? And he said, Robert Mugabe, when he came to power, he was thought to be the Mandela of Africa, and now he has died a villain. Now, since when did we see things through the lens of the West?
Yes.
I think this man is a legend. He's an icon.
Yeah.
He's a statesman and deserves all manner of accolades. Any man who looked at the West eyeball to eyeball,
Yes.
he should be respected.
And told them to bring it on.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes actually, it says, in 2003 he said, "This Hitler has only one objective: justice for his people, sovereignty for his people, recognition of the independence of his people.
Yeah.
If that is Hitler, then let me be Hitler tenfold.
Wow.
May you rest in peace."
Guy had colorful language.
Yes, he
I think
did.
it's a good idea to celebrate him with quotes.
Exactly.
I'll give two small ones.
Yes.
Britain is a very cold, uninhabitable country with small homes. He said this in a 2013 interview. And then, since President Obama endorses same-sex marriage, if it becomes necessary, I shall go to Washington and ask for his hand. He said this in an interview in 2015.
Yes, and guys, is it true that in an interview once,
Yeah.
The interviewer asked him what he wishes to tell the
The
people
yeah.
of Zimbabwe
Yeah.
as he bids them farewell,
Yeah.
and he asked them where the people of Zimbabwe are going. So if it's true,
Yeah.
but remarkable. man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a quote he read to Donald Trump.
Yes.
And I would like to read it.
Go
Please
ahead.
do.
And he said, "May I say to the US President, Donald Trump, Mr. Trump, please blow your trumpet. Blow your trumpet in a musical way towards the values of unity, peace, cooperation, togetherness, and dialogue, which we have always stood for."
Wow.
Never thought he would ever say anything towards Bush or Cameron or the man he likes to call Tony Blair.
Blair. Yes, so that is today in history.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So let's go back to the headlines.
Yeah.
In the Daily Nation,
Yeah.
Caged King, why Sonko is in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
In the Standard, eyes on handshake as Jubilee storms Raila's backyard. And in the Star, Miko's why KQ cannot fly high.
Absolutely.
Shall we start with the Caged King?
Yes.
The Caged King, what an
So-
intriguing headline.
Yeah.
I think all the people that Sonko recorded secretly have banded together
Yeah.
and have finally found a way to take him down.
You
Absolutely.
cannot throw stones when you live in a
a
glass
glass
house.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely. But then I say, you know, and some of these allegations are damning. But I also say this: if you're a politician at the top of the hierarchy, you're going to face this kind of allegations. And again, and I want to go a little bit extreme. What is the state for? Isn't it for extraction?
No, it is not.
No, it is not. But Sonko has come out and say, listen, if I am indeed charged, I am willing to step down. And
Yeah.
apparently is even sourcing for his deputy so that he can have someone in charge while he is being
Yeah.
investigated. Although the people who are holding their breath for that, I don't know
May-
if it will happen.
May not breathe again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for him to make those declarations also, it looks like he's seeing this as something that is
be
quite
serious.
serious
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and that could be headed
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Downhill.
like the headline. We have a 3-part criteria that we use to break down the headlines. We ask ourselves whether it is speculative or topical. We ask ourselves if it's repetitive or groundbreaking. And lastly, we ask whether it is thoughtful or just plain lazy.
Yes.
It's definitely thoughtful, very colourful language.
Very
I like the Cage King. I like the picture.
The picture
is amazing.
Tells a story.
Good job, Nation.
Although it's very easy to find good pictures of Sonko.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Flashy clothes.
So in the Standard, we have eyes on handshake. So we're back to Mariga.
Right.
And basically, yesterday, JM told us a party has its owners. They made their decision.
Absolutely.
So this whole thing about whether Mariga will be there or not, they really wasted our time.
Yeah, they wasted our time.
Absolutely.
So it's come to pass. And as you guys said previously on this table, Mariga is a genius selection. And whichever way this election goes, it's going to be a win-win for Jubilee.
Yes.
Because originally, of course, for a long time, Kibera has been Raila's turf.
Yes.
And these people are coming to, as they say in French, vuruga.
Yes.
They're coming to vuruga.
He really is the green one candidate. Yeah, he's shiny and new. However, let's not underestimate that. Baba is influential. So let's see how this plays out.
There's a lot of layers, because 2M was also telling us you're giving us the new demographic dynamics now in Kibera. With I think 36,000
Luyas, which is the highest number of registered voters. And that could have some dynamics there. But guys, I think that there's a person who has this masterstroke. There's an invincible hand. And the invincible hand is Uhuru Kenyatta. He has seen this through, and he's scheming in a very clever way, and there's an end game. And the person at the receiving end of that end game, I don't know. And I will not say it here now.
So that's how speculative of you.
And it's very interesting because people think that invisible hand is WSR and not Uhuru. So that's a very good perspective.
William Ruto is a decoy. The real person, the guy behind the curtains, is Uhuru Kenyatta.
What do you think about the headline itself?
Headline is good. I actually like it because it gives us 2 layers. There's the handshake, and there's also what's happening actually as proxy was in Kibera. But then you're telling us that there's the person it's actually against is
it just occurred to me
changing.
Because there's some silence that, from one side, and I'm like, where is this man? This man must be doing something behind the scenes.
So intriguing. This year, this political cycle, politics has come early. Christmas has come early.
In the Star, we have Polish MD Mikos of KQ, and so basically he's outlining what was wrong with the airline. And basically he's saying actually the bigger issue is how KQ is structured. So a lot of the what KQ owed banks, they turned it into equity. And he's saying that is holding KQ back because they're charging so much on share and whatnot. I think he's also fighting back, right? They tried to blame it on him. They tried to pin the issues on because Miko said no, not me. But let me tell you what's actually going on.
I actually think there's a scheme. You see, normally when you want to buy an asset this big, what you do is bastardize the asset.
You want to buy it for scrap.
You want to buy it as a going concern. I think there's a scheme, and someone out there, public government, probably wants to buy KQ outrightly.
Okay.
I plead the fifth on this one.
So do I.
I will wait and see. So I think that gives us, shall we go with Standard?
I vote for the Standard as well. It's a great headline.
I like Nation.
You are outvoted today. So the Standard gives us our winning headline. Onto our political pieces.
So much for democracy.
Onto our political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. We also have a 3-part criteria that we use to break them down. We ask ourselves if the cartoon is humorous or dry, if it's sarcastic or pessimistic, or if it's effective or just plain lazy. So I see you started with the Nation.
Victor Ndula, caricature of Seya Senator, James Orengo. And I think he's also a minority leader.
In the Senate.
Yes, and he's carrying a bag labeled Senate, and he's he's telling the pigs feeding from the coffers, which is represented by a briefcase, and the pigs there are called counties, and please eat sparingly. I think, what's the context of this story?
So basically, the stalemate ended.
Yes.
And the National Assembly and the Senate agreed that they would take the lower amount, that was 316 billion
shillings, yes.
The counties wanted 336 billion.
Okay.
So the amount we're fighting over is about 20 billion.
Yes.
The only thing I take issue with is, fair enough, the stalemate has ended.
Yes.
However, counties have not been whipped into shape in terms of you need to sort of fund your own counties.
Absolutely.
Murkomen did say though that as the leader of the majority in the Senate, that they're doing this out of the kindness of their Senate hearts, and because the counties are suffering, but they're still going to revise.
Yes.
And the idea behind
the position.
If you're devolved, the idea behind devolution is that these places would act as vehicles of local economic development. You should be able to raise revenue. You should be able to attract investment. You cannot always rely on Big Brother
on exchequer money. So
the cartoon itself looks painfully familiar.
Yes, except instead of Orengo, I think we had Rotage.
Yes,
we still had the pigs.
The pigs are there, but now it's also very unfair to describe counties as pigs.
Why?
I mean, they're county governments, I mean, for goodness sake.
Anyway, for not being original, I think we toss it.
We toss it.
Yep. Back Ozone.
Yes, the Sultan himself. And this time he's wearing a kanzu and he's dancing with Uhuru Kenyatta. Caricature of Governor of Mombasa, Hassan Joho. And he's dancing with Uhuru Kenyatta. And I think this is with regard to yesterday's bromance between him and the recent bromance,
and the caption?
Politics is full of twists and turns.
Similar to the changing tune.
Absolutely.
This cartoon, it's also familiar. Remember we had one, I don't know if it was from Ozone?
Yeah, it was.
Of Waiguru and Raila dancing together.
Yes.
And then another one from Dula of a dance of Sudi and Miguna in close and tight embrace. Miguna in a gown and...
When I saw this, I laughed.
So
I feel like it's haram. You have them, I mean, honestly.
Haram on two levels.
Yeah.
Dancing with a man.
Yes. They're dancing to Tarab music. But who would have thought 3 years ago these two are going at each other? But now these are brothers. Like I saw a picture that Uhuru was holding him like this.
Yeah, but remember what we said, only a fool doesn't change his mind.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
And in politics, reality is stranger than fiction.
I say we put this in the parking bay because it is
funny.
Make me laugh. And then we have Gado. I feel like Gado outsourced his job today.
His assistant must have drawn this.
Yes, and it's a drawing of two school children. One's malnourished, the other one is very healthy. And they're being fed. Now, one is the healthy one is being fed by a teacher, and the food has been labeled CBC, which is competence-based curriculum. And I think what he's trying to allude to here is the new curriculum is spoon-feeding school-going children.
But also not even that only the schools that can afford to implement CBC are the ones who are going to get it.
Absolutely.
Because there's a cost component to implementing the new curriculum.
I think this debate should end. I mean, we cannot stay with one system, 844, and still continue churning out robots.
Change is always rejected. But as for the cartoon itself, it is so uninspiring, and I can bet my small fortune that it is not Gado who drew it.
Yes. So we have a winning cartoon from Sister.
Absolutely.
And what is our final thought?
And now, our final thought. Inspired by a book we have been reviewing this week, and it's entitled Revolution, Rebellion, Resistance, The Power of Story, by a man called Eric Selbin. And today, my people, we shall be talking about the Arab Spring.
I look forward to it. But before we go there, let me give a quick summary of how this week went. On Monday, we started with the French Revolution, and there we saw how important the third estate was, that a revolution have leaders and being led from above, but also the importance of a story. They told us about equality, fraternity, and liberty. It was a 10-year struggle.
Absolutely.
But the French Revolution gave us some of the rights that most of our democracies enjoy today.
Absolutely.
And it also sparked some inspiration with the Haitian Revolution that we did, right? So the next day, on Tuesday, we made a commentary on the xenophobic attacks happening in South Africa. And there we questioned whether Black South Africans were misplacing their anger. Were there obvious choice architects from the West that want disunited Africa? And we asked us to, take a pause and think about that. And then on Wednesday, we came back to the revolutions, and we talked about the Russian Revolution. And there we discussed the Bolsheviks, the Jacobins, and the importance also, again, of a story.
Absolutely.
But even of that little situation that creates the revolution. The price of bread, a war that no one wants to be in. But also how timing is crucial. Had Lenin not taken power at that time, would he have been successful any other time?
Absolutely.
And on Thursday, we went to the Haitian Revolution, hailed as the first black successful slave revolt.
Yes.
It was something to be proud of. And here we saw the importance of leadership. Toussaint was a great leader. He fought the Spanish, the English, the French, and brought Haiti into, being the first successful slave
and you guys
revolution.
Declared that we should have a Toussaint Day.
We should have a
Africa.
Toussaint Day. Yes, we should. Known as the Black Spartacus. He was really something to be admired. However, we also said that Haiti was a revolution without a framework. That thereafter Haiti has become almost like the forgotten nation. Where are they now?
Absolutely.
Right? Made to pay reparations to France. They were in this constant debt cycle. So we question the success of that revolution in its entirety.
Absolutely.
And today we move to our most latest iteration, the Arab Spring, also known as the Jasmine Revolution.
Yes. And I'll give a quick summary because the timeline of the Arab Revolution or the Arab Spring is quite long and quite complex. So it began on the 18th of December in 2010, and this was a day after a street vendor in Tunisia, Bouazizi, Mohamed Bouazizi, self-immolated himself. He set himself on fire because he was being harassed by the local government.
And humiliated
and humiliated. And the Arab Revolution is quite remarkable for two reasons. The first one is how widespread it was. I mean, compared to the revolutions that we have discussed, it was actually intercontinental because it was spread from North Africa to the Middle East, and it spread to countries like Libya, Egypt, Yemen, Syria, Morocco. And the demonstrations were caused by people complaining about high unemployment, food inflation, corruption, generally just bad governance.
Absolutely.
And some of them had been in leadership for very long.
For a very long time. So they were actually protesting against dictatorship largely. But the other thing is, because I said that there's two remarkable things about this revolution, is that it happened in the age of social media. So and that actually contributed to it being so widespread. So there was a lot of communication and interactions amongst the participants or amongst the political protesters. Where to meet. They organized demonstration, they disseminated information about their activities, and they raised, and the most important thing actually is that they raised both local and global awareness about their plight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, there's a component of the Arab Spring I think we should really talk about, and that is something called Western interference.
The choice architects.
The choice architects. Now, there's a man called Barack Obama, former president of the United States. There's a man called Nicolas Sarkozy, former French president. And then there's a man, former Prime Minister of the UK, David Cameron. The guys sit together and they say, we are going to do a no-fly zone in Libya. Okay? We are going to have planes and every other commercial or military jet coming over, we shall block it. Now, fast forward to 12 years later, after Gaddafi was deposed. Do you know, guys, I was seeing some figures. The amount of destruction in Libya today, the aftermath of the Libyan revolution, is crazy. 2008, just before the revolution happened, Gaddafi was leading a country that had an $82 billion GDP. Right now, the GDP of Libya is $44 billion. They have literally halved it. And the people, and when Obama and Sarkozy and Cameron were supporting the rebels, they said, we're doing this because we're giving the people of Libya democracy. Now, opportunity cost there. Between having a country that was the Switzerland of Africa and having a country that is today having 1,700 armed militia, basically you and I can have a militia if you want, and guns everywhere. It tells you how crazy and a narrative sponsored by the West can be. And I want to quote a professor. His name is Michel Schodowski, and he's a professor of economics in the University of Ottawa. And he says, today Libya as a country and the nation state has been destroyed. Under Nuremberg, the leaders of the NATO member states involved in the war in Libya are war criminals. And I couldn't agree more.
Wow, that's powerful. And I think it begs the question, you know, what makes a revolution successful?
Successful. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is the question I wanted to pose to you guys, since you've been doing revolutions this whole week.
Yes.
Is a revolution successful only if it has attained what it is it was setting out to attain, like the change of regime?
Yes.
Or that if thereafter, like now in the case of Libya, in the case of Haiti, that there is prosperity or whatever measure it is of...
So I think, so in Tunisia's case, the fall of Ben Ali, him fleeing to Saudi Arabia, was successful.
Absolutely.
Right? So they protested against his reign, and they managed to succeed to remove him. But I think in many of the Arab Spring nations, a lot of these countries are still in turmoil.
Absolutely.
Right? So that if the end goal was democracy and cultural freedom, none of them have that now.
They didn't attain any of
they
that.
didn't attain that. And so the question still remains, how do we gauge what is successful or not?
You see, I see a question, and I want to take the example of the French Revolution.
Okay.
They have come up with systems and democratic systems that today we still use. But up to until the time that what's his name, Louis XVI was deposed, it only just took 10 years to reinstitute order in France
with Bonaparte,
with Napoleon. That, in my view, is successful. The Arab Spring, in my view, has not been successful. Yes, they have their democracy, but I'm not sure that they're eating it.
And so there's some common themes that we figured out in the Arab Spring. We're seeing that a lot of the leaders who were deposed or were undergoing these protests. So for instance, Syria, they haven't managed to get rid of Assad. And again, there you see that there's foreign influence. The Americans are supporting the rebel groups who are trying to topple Assad. But Russia is standing firmly with Assad and saying,
very good.
And he's reconstituted his hegemony. Hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
So we've quelled that for now. However, a lot of the dictators seem to have some military, army background with them. So they know how to use power, they know how to use weapons to their advantage. But the other thing was how they came to power. Assad inherited his father's presidency at a very young age. He's also probably now unsure as to who would succeed him. And that is probably what is causing a lot of animosity. But a lot of the principle of being a good dictator is also to be patient. So a lot of them...
Like a
You're very patient before you take over from whoever is before you. For instance, Saddam Hussein was deeply loyal.
Yes, very true.
But also a good dictator knows his enemies. So in the case of Gaddafi got rid of all his enemies and put in his sons, which was also then a sticky point for the masses. Right? We don't want another regime.
It's sort of monarchy.
The other thing is that these dictators created godlike statuses. Right? So they had these palaces, they had these symbols of power. Gaddafi had the women's guard. He always wore these robes and the gold.
But GK, as a leader should. I mean, how would we feel if our president was wearing mitumba? The queen walks around in Givenchy and Versace.
Africans want their heads also to behave.
You see, personally, what I have a problem with is the label that is ascribed to these Middle Eastern and African leaders of dictatorship, which dilutes any kind of contribution that they may have given prior to when the West realized that these people are not playing ball, therefore they must be villainized, therefore they're the enemy. And this is exactly what happened with Mugabe, with the Libyan leader Gaddafi. When the choice architects, as you're calling them, and this is what you guys have also talked about it before on this table. Who determines our heroes? Or who says this person is a hero? Heroes globally are those that have pandered to the West.
And you see, I so agree. And you see, when the Queen moves around, in fact, when I saw her coming to Africa, she put on gloves and she said hi to us, to peasants in gloves. And even when she walks, she has her crown and everything. Nobody ask her. I mean, those are not signs of ostentatiousness.
But however, for King Louis, but it worked against King Louis in the French Revolution, isn't it? He became an obvious object of aggression just because of his display of wealth.
And because people were also wallowing in poverty.
So the other thing they say, really quickly, that dictators do is they have a good grasp on what's going on in their nations. A lot of these dictators had huge surveillance and spy projects in their countries. It's said that Ben Ali, before he was deposed, had about 70 to 80% of the population spying on each other. So you must know what is going on at all times.
Absolutely.
Akin to maybe our special branch in Moi's time.
I love it.
But the other thing that they did a lot was control their media. So controlling who is telling the story, how the story is being told.
Absolutely.
And that's why social media was so important in the Arab Spring, because they can't control the tweets, unless you become like other countries in Africa where you shut down
internet.
Absolutely, we should but I want to say this in the end. Just like we saw with Mugabe, leaders often start off as revolutionaries, but then their story is told differently, and sometimes it can villainize them, make them look like they did nothing for their countries. And it's important for us as Africans to tell those stories well. Even now in Mugabe's death, let's remember all three phases of his life, from statesman to dictator to revolutionary.
May I interject with a quote in honor of Mugabe? It wasn't his quote. Oh, actually, I don't have it. But something I read. Something like, as human beings, we expect our villains to have no good qualities, and we expect our heroes to have no flaws.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is unrealistic.
Fantastic.
It is unrealistic. That's how to describe it.
The last thing I want to say, guys, and even in the honor of Mugabe, there is a narrative, and it comes from the West, and they say, oh, you guys have long-serving presidents, and we don't ask, and you people, the Queen has been there for how many years? For about 400 or so, right? And yet they have the guts to tell us that we've been staying in power for I don't know how long. Anyway, I think we need a little bit of self-confidence in ourselves. We need
as Africans,
as Africans, and we should retort back and say, you guys are doing the exact same thing you're accusing us of. So let's have a little bit of self-confidence, and we'll be able to.
Thank you for that, Salman. Thank you so much. We have a winning cartoon from the Star and a winning headline from the Standard. And I will say to you this: revolutions are still important because they are about the people. And you know what? Evil prospers when good men do nothing. So you must always do something. Kindly subscribe to our channel. Also remember that we're on TV, so look out for us this weekend. We're on GoTV, Pan, Star Times. Look for us. Have a good weekend.